So one time I had these clients come to me with a dog that was limping, but the mom was saying the dog was limping on one leg, and dad said the dog was limping on the other leg. And my job as a veterinarian was to try to figure out which leg this dog was limping on. Now, don't you wish that there was a way that animals could actually tell us where it hurts? Well, now there is a way, and it is with the Digatherm. A Digatherm is a thermal digital camera, medical grade, that we here at Aspen Park Vet Hospital have one of these. It is amazing. I love this thing. So it's a non-invasive, easy to use, not very expensive way to get a heat or thermal picture of what's going on with the inflammation in your dog's body. It is so cool, am I right? And so I use it all the time here at Aspen Park. I'm Dr. Gina Queston, the owner of Aspen Park Vet Hospital here in Conifer, Colorado. We're a holistic hospital, which means we do things a little bit differently around here. And one of the ways that we do them is instead of taking x-rays or spinal taps or any other kinds of things like that, when you have complicated, confusing medical problems, a lot of times I'll use my Digatherm to help me figure out not only where pain and inflammation might be, but also it's great for evaluating lumps and bumps, right? Because if you go to your vet and your dog has a new bump on them, and the vet sticks a needle in that and it looks at the fluid under the microscope from that bump, your dog has gone through all of that and you've spent all this money and you've evaluated one bump. Am I right? I mean, these older doggies of ours often have multiple bumps all over their body. And you don't want to be making them have to get poked in all these different bumps. So you don't have to anymore now with the Digatherm. So this is an amazing tool that I'm so proud of that we have here at Aspen Park Vet Hospital. One of many things that we offer that a lot of other veterinary hospitals just don't have, that allow us to do more holistic treatment for the pets in our care. So what are we going to do with this information? Now we know where we're finding heat and inflammation in this animal's body. Well, what can we do about that? Well, obviously it depends on where it is and what we're treating, but one of the main tools that we have here at Aspen Park that, again, not a lot of veterinary practices offer is acupuncture. And so I wanted to do a little tutorial for you today so that you could really understand all the different facets of acupuncture and all the ways that we can help animals and what kind of problems that we can help them with using acupuncture. So what exactly is acupuncture? So acupuncture is actually something that was developed thousands of years ago. It's hard to say how it exactly developed, but somehow physicians over there figured out that if you use little tiny needles and then put them into different places in the body, it would actually release sort of energy blockages that were happening and allow healing to occur in the body. The amazing thing about acupuncture is that I can treat any animal for pretty much anything. That's why I usually don't travel without acupuncture needles for myself and my family, because acupuncture I can treat everything from headaches to ankle sprains to sunburn even. It's amazing all the different things that you can do with something as simple as just acupuncture using these little needles that are very small. Actually, let's show you what they look like. So let's show you here what an acupuncture needle actually looks like. These are a couple of different sizes that we have here. Some are longer, some are a little bit higher gauge. They're all sterile so that we are not introducing any kind of infection. But I think what's really important and really neat about acupuncture needles is to appreciate that they're actually really flexible. Okay, they're not anything like a nail or anything. They're pretty soft. And so for most dogs, they tolerate insertion of these really pretty easily. And again, they come in different sizes. If this might be one that I would use for a kitty cat, something that is a little shorter, and again, very soft and easy, and certainly, hopefully, not too scary. So acupuncture, if you've ever had it yourself, you've probably had dry needles. That's what most people are used to. But acupuncture can actually be lots of other things besides just dry needles. So first of all, when we think about acupuncture, we can have those needles that I showed you, and that's what we call dry needles. Or we can do aquapuncture, which is something that here at Aspen Park we call wet needles. So dry needles and acupuncture are just as effective as each other. They're just two different ways of doing things. So what the heck is a wet needle? Well, let me show you. So here at Aspen Park, this is what we would call wet needles. And all that means is that in the syringe, we have a combination of just plain old vitamin B12 with a little bit of procaine so it doesn't hurt quite as much when we give these injections. Again, a little bitty tiny needle. And so instead of placing an acupuncture needle into a point on an animal that has to sit there for 15 or 20 minutes while the needle activates and does its work, we can just inject this B12 into the acupuncture point. And while it's getting absorbed by the body, it's placing pressure on that acupuncture point in exactly the same way that a needle in that point would do. So I've actually discovered that I find my acupuncture is just as effective as dry needles or acupuncture, and it's a lot more convenient for you, and it's a lot easier on the animals because they don't have to sit there with needles in for 20 minutes trying to knock them out all around the room. That's crazy, am I right? You know, so it's a lot easier to just go do in all the spots with my wet needles or my acupuncture, and I get this same level of pain relief, inflammation control, whatever it is that we're working on to try to help the animal feel better. So what are these acupuncture points that I'm talking about? Well, here's a chart that kind of shows you, here's all these little points that are all over any animal's body, whether it's people or dogs, like in this case, this poster shows you. And all of these points correspond to different nerve and blood vessels in the body. And so by stimulating or injecting them, that's a way that we can actually release tensions in the body and help promote healing. So how does this acupuncture really even work, right? I mean, so sometimes people talk about it as chi, flow, energy, movement, and things like that. But I went to Colorado State University where they teach acupuncture in a much more logical, less Chinese mystical medicine kind of way and more science-based, factual kind of way. So let me explain it to you this way. This is how acupuncture works. Think for a moment if you get a splinter in your finger. What happens with that splinter? If you look at the end of your finger, if you have a splinter, it gets all red, right? Am I right? It gets a red circle. Well, why is that? Well, it's because there's these little tiny muscle receptors that actually send a signal to your brain that says, hey, I have a problem here and I need you to do something. So all of this happens in a matter of just a few seconds. Your skin gets punctured, a signal gets sent to the brain immediately responds by sending in endorphins and also vasodilating, or sending in fresh blood into that area to help with the healing, to get rid of the bacteria, to get rid of the foreign body, whatever it is that might be causing that injury. Isn't that amazing? So in just seconds, your brain responds to a little tiny puncture in the skin. And so that is the same way that acupuncture works, okay? So there's actually a lot of science to it. It's not hoodoo voodoo. It actually really works. All of our clients that come here all the time and bring your dogs and cats in for acupuncture will tell you the same thing. So now that we know the science behind it, we know it really, really works because our patients are definitely testament to that. All the ones that come here week after week to Aspen Park Vet Hospital. Let's talk more about some other things you might not have known about acupuncture. So not only can we do dry needles, not only can we do wet needles or acupuncture, also we could do both, okay? Depends on the patient. So that might be something to talk about with your veterinarian. Depends on what's going on with the dog. A dog that's got a little bit of hind limb paralysis and weakness, like an older dog that's having some lost muscle function in the back end, that's definitely a patient that I might consider doing both of these on, or even adding a few other things, one of them being VNA, which is also called VOM. VOM stands for Veterinary Orthopedic Manipulation or Veterinary Neural Adjustment. Let me show what that looks like. So this is what the VNA looks like. Makes a little noise, can be a little startling to some dogs. Maybe you're a chiropractor. Has your chiropractor ever used one of these on you? actually feels pretty good. Most of the dogs that come in here, once they get over the initial like, whoa, what's that noise? They learn to really settle in. They really like it. It feels really good. So the philosophy behind this is it is velocity over force. So as a traditional chiropractic usually means a lot of force to kind of move everything back into position, this is very gently nudging all those vertebrae back into alignment. And I almost always couple my VNA with my acupuncture because I know I get better results when I use these two things together. But what about for those dogs that are really paralyzed and really losing function in the hind end? Unfortunately, we do see that can even be in younger dogs that hurt their back, especially those long back dogs like our corgis and our dachshunds. Those are the ones that we're going to see most often for that problem. Can also happen in older pets too. If that's the case, I'm going to combine my dry needles with my VNA and with a TENS unit. And what that looks like is just something like this. And so we're going to put those dry needles into our patient, all those correct acupuncture points to stimulate all those places that we know are going to be what that animal needs to try to get those nerves to fire up again correctly. I'm going to add these little alligator clips onto those needles, and then we're going to set this up so that it provides a little bit of an electrical shock into the needles, which actually feels really good. And I know that for a fact because those of you who've known me for any length of time know that in 2003 I broke my leg and it was very badly fractured, and the only thing that gave me pain relief was actually hooking up a TENS unit to myself. I'm very fortunate that I was able to do that, and it felt amazing and it was extremely relaxing. So it's not like a big strong shock, it's just a little tiny vibration is really what it feels like. It feels really, really good. So TENS feels amazing, I know from personal experience, and also it provides exceptional pain relief for something that's extremely painful. So for some of these dogs, whether they're paralyzed or in extreme pain, this is when I'm going to go to my dry needle and my TENS. And the last tool that I have in the toolbox, well, not the last, we got more tools than that, but one other tool that we have in the toolbox is our infrared laser. Laser works really well with all of these things for dogs that come in, they tear a tendon, they have a sore neck, something like that. Laser's amazing because you don't have to see me to get laser. Our technicians are all trained how to use it. We actually have packages that you can purchase so that you can get a better deal on them. And besides that, you can also schedule them on wellness days. Those are special days that we have just for our good clients where we do discounted procedures and blood work. And one of those discounted things we do is laser. And so that may be something for you to think about if you have a pet that ends up having some kind of a significant injury that's going to take several weeks, say a torn cruciate ligament in a knee or some chronic neck pain. Those are things that I commonly see. So I'm definitely going to recommend at the very minimum, we're going to do some VNA and some acupuncture, and then maybe some laser in between to help provide even more pain relief. And then save these other tools, the dry needles and the TENS, for my more complicated cases. So again, how can we combine these two tools to have the best outcome for our pets? Well, the thing is that the Digatherm really works hand in hand with all of our other holistic acupuncture treatments, right? Because the Digatherm's going to tell us where the inflammation is in the body, and then we're going to be able to use our acupuncture and our dry needles, our TENS, and our laser to treat that inflammation. So yes, it is possible for our dogs to tell us where it hurts. Isn't that amazing? All this time we thought they couldn't tell us, but now with the use of the Digatherm, they can tell us. And here at Aspen Park Vet Hospital, we're here to help you with all of the problems that you have with your pets, not just the aches and the pains, but also they're just not feeling super great and we can't figure out exactly why are they eating less? Why are they losing weight, but they're not having vomiting or diarrhea? All those kind of mystery cases are excellent uses for the Digatherm, and then using some of our more natural treatments that don't even need drugs and things that you have to poke down their throat and really damage the bond that you have with your pet, because that's what we're all about, is primarily providing you with first-class pet care that preserves the bond between you and your animal and helps them outlive their expected lifespan. And how do I know? Because I'm Dr. Q, and I'm here to help you have the most amazing relationship you ever thought possible with all of the animals in your life. So if you have any questions about acupuncture, or if it could be good for you and your pet, give us a call at Aspen Park Vet Hospital. And if you like this video, please like it and subscribe to the channel because it really helps our horse rescue. And we'll see you right here next time. Thanks, everybody, and God bless.